And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're taking a look at Kepler-3042. This is about the future as we're going out colonizing other planets and terraforming them. Kepler was this one game was just picked up by Renegade Games. I'm not taking a look at the Renegade version, I'm taking a look at the Placentia Games version, so I don't know what changes Renegade will do. I know they're changing the box cover. But this theme really has me intrigued. It looks like a grandiose game, although the time on the box said 1 to 2 hours. So it doesn't seem like that long of a game, but it looks like a grandiose space game. As you're going out, you're not fighting or sending out starfighters. You're going out to terraform planets and, build yourself the best empire. Here's how it plays. So there's a big map of the galaxy that's out here, and this is the explored galaxies. You're going to put out these space tokens here, and some of them you can see. Some of them are planets, and each planet is going to correspond to a matching card. That planet, if you discover that planet, you're going to get a certain number of points for discovering the planet, and it's possible then to terraform the planet to make it worth more points at the end of the game, and also move you up on the track. So different planets also have the possibility of producing resources, and a few planets need you to find an alien technology before you can establish colonies on these. Players are going to be working on a player board that they have here. This player board is kind of the focus of what you're doing. At the beginning of each round, there are 16 rounds in a game. Each player in turn order is going to pick an action that they are going to do. This action could be terraforming planets, colonizing planets, etc. Also, you can take a bonus action depending on the row in the column. This lets you move up one on the blue track, one on the pink track. This gives you a antimatter cube. This gives you an orange and a white cube. This lets you move your ships too. This lets you build a ship. However, every time you use these bonus actions, you have to essentially spend cubes that are out of your resource pool. Each player is going to start with some cubes on Earth that they can actually use to do things with. These is like your own resource pool, but when you burn resources, you're going to put them here. And there are a few ways to get them back, to heal the cubes to bring them back, but not very easily. Now the different actions that you're going to take are going to basically, that's how you win the game. So like for example here, I can build starships. Each player has 3 starships they can build for 1 matter and 1 energy cube. And they're going to be placed on the board, and at the end of each of your turn, they're going to move. If you pick stellar propulsion, they will move also as your actions. You can have them move twice. Now, before I go any farther, I should mention each player here also has a technology board. And the way the technology boards work, at the beginning of the game, you get to move 2 of them for free. But one of your actions can be to move up on a technology, and there's a cost to go up on each of these. These technologies are going to affect actions. For example, the top one is how far you can move. So you probably want to get up here so your ships move at least 1, then 3, then 6, then 9. And when you get to the end of each technology track, as you go on these spaces, some of them will let you move higher on the blue track, but they'll also give you victory points. It will advance other players to at least level 1 if they haven't done so. And it might give you a special benefit, like here you can build ships for 1 energy instead of 1 energy and 1 matter. This one down here is going to give you antimatter cubes. That can be an action you take antimatter cubes, and you get the amount down here. Also at the end, it lets you explore alien planets. The middle one here lets you terraform worlds. This line on the world, so for example, if I have this world here, I only need to be at production 1 to terraform this. If I was on a different world here, I would need to be all the way here to be able to terraform that world. This one here gives me a certain number of energy, and this one here lets me change matter to energy and move cubes around. And I just realized I have this on the Italian side of the board. There is an English side that players can be on and use. So you're going to be moving these technologies around. So that's what that board does. As I mentioned, the different actions are going to have to do that. Here, get antimatter. Here, produce resources on planets that you have. The resources you produce always come from here if you have them. terraforming a planet. If you're at the right level, you pay the resources, turn it over to make it worth more victory points and make it have more production. You can move up on the different tracks and reveal celestial objects that are outside. You can move up on the tech track, and you can colonize planets. So if your ship is on a planet on the main board, then you can, so if I was on this planet here, on planet number 8, and my ship is on that planet, I can colonize it. So that's basically what players are going to be doing on their turn. So as each round goes, though, at the beginning of a round, you're going to be turning over an event card. This event card is going into effect at the end of a round. Each player gets to put a free starship into play. Or maybe the next one, each player can trade 1 energy for 2 matter or 1 matter for 2 energy. Or each player produces 1 of the antimatter. As the game goes by, you're going to be moving up on these tracks here too. On the purple, one of them is like science and the other one is fame or something like that. And you'll be moving up on these. And when a medal gets hit, it gets put on the card. And at the end of a round, whoever's the farthest on that track will get this medal, which is worth a victory point. Also, when you pass different spots, you'll get extra resources. And you'll notice there's numbers here. These are points at the end of the game. So that's the whole thing here, right? How do you get points in this game? Well, moving up on those tracks, moving to the end on your technological track, terraforming planets will give you points. You get points for technologies that you get to the end. You get extra points for planets that you found, depending on what ring. So any planet that you might have colonized that's way out here is going to get you 3 points, while the ones in the known space are only going to get you 1 point. And each player also, at the beginning of the game, is going to be given a secret objective that they need to do. So you need to complete the full advancement in colonial leadership, or terraform a planet, or terraform 3 planets located by mid-range stars, or terraform an alien planet. If you do this, you will get the amount of points at the bottom. Whoever has the most points after 16 rounds is the winner. Now, I like Kepler, but just barely. I like it. I think there's a lot of good things in it. So I give it an approved rating because I like many of the things in it. I like that there's 16 actions, and that's pretty much all you have over the course of the game. So you have to figure out the best actions that you can do. I like the technology tracks. Moving on the technology tracks to make your actions better is good. I like moving the ships around the board. You're sending them out there, and you have to decide whether you're going to send them out far and get these planets that you can see, or reveal planets, or you're going to move on the purple and blue tracks and get points that way. Or are you going to accomplish your secret objective? How are you going to get resources? The tough choice of burning resources. That's a really good mechanism. Burning resources out of your resource pool, and you're like, oh, what do I care? Well, you care later on. It's kind of like a, and now you know, situation. When you get to the end, you're like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't have done that. The thing is that Kepler feels like it should be a more grandiose game than it is. You don't feel like you have enough options, and some things don't feel progressive. For example, the planets themselves. The planets, there's really strong planets close, and there's weak planets far away, and there's not a huge amount of motivation to fly out to the outer reaches of the galaxy and terraform those planets. Sure, they're worth 3 points, while the ones that are close to you are worth 1, but the amount of energy that you expend to get out to those planets doesn't seem to fulfill it. It doesn't feel like it's like, ooh, here's some interesting planets. Wow, they get even more interesting. No, they really don't. And there's not a huge sense of discovery. You're like, oh, there's a planet, I'll go terraform it. And so I kind of miss that. Like, ooh, this planet is what I was looking for. There's not a lot of discovery. You see the planets. There are things on the board. There's mines that you can go into which help you. You can pull your ship off those at the end of your turn to bring back a cube from the ones that you've burned. Or you can go to some to move on the track. And that's interesting, but those aren't as interesting with only 16 actions. And I think, I don't know. I don't want the game to be big and grandiose. A 2-hour game is great, although I think 2 hours is on the long side. This was likely going to often play in 90 minutes or so. But it has that feel, but it like comes close to greatness and then edges away from it. Moving your action on the board seems really useful, and the extra actions, but you can't do those extra actions most of the time. So that's not as fascinating to me, and burning a cube for some of the actions is usually not worth it. The technological track is great, but here's the thing. It's great, It's an obvious thing to do. You really need to up your technology in this game, and you need to up as much of it as you possibly can. And because of that, and not to mention the goals are often about terraforming and upping your technology level, and because of that, you might as well put all your effort into upgrading your tech. And again, you only have 16 turns, so you're used several turns to do that, and it's like, oh, now I can do some really cool stuff, and the game ends. Still, though, I like this. It's as far as I can tell, a fairly hard science game. There's alien planets, but you don't see aliens. You're not fighting each other. It's not Star Wars in space. I'm cool with that. I like the idea of going out, finding planets, and terraforming them. And this game does a good job at that. It's hard for me to say that this game is bad, because it's not. There's a lot of interesting things. But I wonder if there's not enough interest to keep it for long term. I wonder if I'm going to want to come back to it and try different strategies, because it feels like the strategies are what planets do I see, try to get them before the other players, terraforming them, and get this done as quickly as I can, because you don't have options to really spread and build out. So I feel like because there's 16 turns, that's a good thing. It keeps you focused, but unfortunately it might keep you too focused over the course of the game. So I have mixed feelings here. Overall, I think I like it more than not. I do. I would play it again. I like the different tracks. I like the technologies. It's a little busy in how you look at it, and it doesn't come with stickers. I think I got the stickers extra. I'm not sure. But I like the concept of it. We'll see what the Renegade version is like and if they've made any changes. But it is one I think people should at least look at. I'm not sure it's for everybody, but if you're looking for a good hard science fiction game, I think this is one to check. Dice Tower Judgment, approved!
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door!